There are a lot of odd terms in gardening, like hardening off. I'm Christy Wilhelmi from Gardenerd, and today I'm going to talk about what that is and how to do it. If you're new to starting seeds indoors under grow lights or in a different environment than outside in the soil where it's going to grow, there's this thing you run across called hardening off. And no, it's not an adult film title, although who knows, maybe it is. I don't want to know. Don't tell me in the comments. This is what happens when you bring plants out into the environment and you have to toughen them up a little bit so that they can survive in their new home. There are really good reasons for hardening off if you live in a place where your inside temperatures and your outside temperatures or your daytime and nighttime temperatures fluctuate dramatically. The plants are soft and coddled under grow lights, and they need to toughen up a little before they'll be comfortable out here. So the way to do that is pretty simple, but you just need time. The first step is you put them in something like this that you can easily move from place to place, and you bring them outside for a couple of hours on day one, and that goes into some kind of a dappled shade situation where it's not in full sun. And that will allow the wind to blow at them and tighten and help them form new cells along their stems to get them tougher and help protect their leaf surfaces from being sun scalded and all of that. And then you bring them back in after a couple hours. The next day, you bring them out for a little longer, and then you bring them back in. And each day, you increase the length of time that you bring them out, and you increase how much sunlight they get. So you push them a little more out into full sun and back. This process can take up to, in some cases, 2 weeks in really harsh environments. But for us, we just give them a day or two before we pull them out. This I brought out yesterday and left it outside overnight because we have pretty mild nighttime temperatures. 61 degrees is not very different from where it is inside. So this is not going to need a whole lot of attention before we bring it out. The other thing to know is that some plants need it more than others. Tomatoes are pretty resilient, but one year I grew bush beans and I took them straight from under the grow lights out into the garden. I transplanted them. They were gorgeous. And then we had a hot day where the sun baked them and they all fried. So that's what can happen if you don't harden off your plants before putting them out in the garden. If you do live in a warm winter climate, I like to look at the forecast and see what's coming. It happens to be that we have an overcast week, so this is the perfect time to plant something out. We actually have rain in the forecast. I like to get my plants in the ground before the rain hits because then they get some nitrogen from any thunderstorms that might happen, and the rain soaks the roots and helps them get established in their new home. Look, see, the wind is blowing and these are getting a little tougher just by being here. You can actually mimic that indoors under grow lights by placing an oscillating fan that rolls back and forth between all of your plants, and that forces their little stems to form more cells and toughen them up against the wind. So you can do that ahead of time to help ease them back out into the garden faster. So when you see a call to harden off your plants before bringing them out into the garden, just know that you don't necessarily have to do it if you live in a warm winter climate and have mild temperatures pretty much all the time. But if you live in a harsher environment where nighttime temperatures are cold or you're still getting storms, you definitely need to harden them off. So take the time to do it, plan ahead, don't get too excited, and just take the time to prep your beds while you're hardening off your plants. To learn more about growing plants from seed indoors, you visit gardenerd.com, check out my books, my online courses, and all the other stuff at Gardenerd. And consider becoming a Patreon subscriber to support all the free stuff we do here at Gardenerd. Happy gardening.